I've been emulating games for as long as I can remember. Maybe I haven't been able to own a console my whole life, but that doesn't stop me from playing some of my favorite games. Today I'm going to be talking about a few that I liked. One of them is Pokemon Platinum, as you can see here. Pokemon Platinum is the 4th generation of the Pokemon franchise, and, in my opinion, the best one of the few, because it's the perfect balance of 2D and 3D art style, the great Pokedex, post-Platinum, of course. We all know how Sinnoh was. And then, one of my favorite gym battles of all time. Then again, this is my first and only run of Pokemon that I've made it to near completion. I'll get to that part in a bit. My first Pokemon was Chimchar. I chose that one because it looks better than the rest of the other ones. My next Pokemon would be a Sphinx. I would name him Luxury, because Luxray was a luxury, and it was my luxury. I also got a 2 Gastrodon, one named West and East, even though they were both a West variant. I may not be that intelligent. And then, my other Pokemon would be Garchomp, a Staraptor, and I think that was like a Snozzle, whatever it was called again. Floatzel, yeah, Floatzel. Then again, there was also a bunch of other Pokemon that I caught that I only shoved right into the PC. Like an Eevee that I got back in like Woodwork Town. I can't remember the names of these towns. I beat every single gym first try except for 2. The 2 being the first gym and the third gym. The third gym, it took so long for me to defeat because of the gym challenge, where you have to move the giant punching boxes around so you can get to the next part of the area, battle again, get lower HP, move the boxes again, move it again, battle again, and then I just kept dying because it's taking so long and the battles are so difficult before you reach the gym leader. And then I beat the gym leader easily because her strongest Pokemon is Lucario. That's Chimchar food! Then, I made it to the Elite Four. After completing the very interesting story, I was able to make it to the Elite Four. Each challenge was more difficult than last, and I was stopped at Gym 2. You see, the difficulty part with emulation is that, well, you can do a lot more, like play games that don't actually work on the gamepad it was made for, but the problem is, you have to keep that thing in good condition. The tablet that I was working with was destroyed, losing all my progress, and all the Pokemon that I've gathered get so hard to obtain. And I was never able to finish Pokemon Platinum. There was actually, to this day, only one game I've ever completed to its fullest. And let me tell you, that game is... Sonic Adventure 2 was the first game I fully completed. My mom last year got me a computer. It doesn't work anymore, but back when it did, I finally learned about Dolphin Emulator, an emulator that could play GameCube and Wii games. So the first game I got was Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. I knew about this game, but I never really could play it, until that day. When I first got it, the first level that I played was actually the Evil Story, because I wanted to try that one first. It was actually pretty boring because it was a mech level. That's my least favorite of the 3. My favorite is obviously the speed stages, like everyone else's. City Escape was pretty awesome, and I really enjoyed the story throughout. And when I made it to the end with Live and Learn, it was truly something spectacular. And when I finally beat the game, it was the first time I've ever done it. It was a pretty good feeling, I'm not gonna lie. But as all good things come to an end, and I never actually got to try the Chow Garden. Maybe I should try that when I get a tablet again, or a computer again, or something. Well, there's only one last game I need to talk about, and that game is... Super Mario 64 was a game that came out in 1996. Over 10 years before I would be born. And before I went to high school, they gave me a cult ROM book. So I looked up and I found it on the web browser. It was so light it could finally work on web browsers. So I got to play Mario 64. Mario 64 is one of my favorite games of all time because it was the original jump to 3D platformers. And I don't know what people were talking about with the camera controls. I really enjoyed them. And with the movement, you could pretty much do whatever you want, especially with the sandbox style type levels. My favorite level was Tall Tall Mountain, which I called Mushroom Hill. There was only like very few difficult things I had to go through and a lot of places to catch me if I fell. It was a lot of fun to be had. My least favorite levels gotta be Dire Docks because there was like so much water and like barely anything to do in them. I barely ever got to use the ship, only 2 levels involved them. And I was a great collector of the stars. I dang near got all of them in time, but at the end of the year, when it was time to return my laptop, I only will be able to make it to the very end. Barely ever even getting close to defeating the last Bowser fight. And so, at the end of the day, emulation has caused me a great amount of joy. I'm playing many games that I would have never been able to, either from the lack of resources, from like the GameCube being discontinued before I even learned how to walk, or the fact that like many consoles these days are super expensive. Emulation is a great way to enjoy your life without having to worry about the extra costs of living. So, at the end of the day, I really enjoy emulation, and I really hope that you do too. So, this is the end of the video. For the first time ever, I'm going to ask you guys to like the video and subscribe. So, I hope to see you guys next time I upload. Goodbye!